In this video, I'm going to introduce you to what to expect on the upcoming CycleAcrossOz ride from Darwin to Broome. The ride starts in Darwin, which is marked at the letter A, and heads southeast down the Stuart Highway, turns right at Katherine and heads across into Western Australia and ends in Broome, which is the place marked B. Now, this ride is all about the rivers. We leave Darwin, which is a great city of water, of mangroves, of beaches and of sunsets. It is a friendly city. It is the gateway to the Kakadu National Park. The highlight is the markets at Mindle Beach, where we get a fusion of Asian, European, Australian and every overseas visitor's culture. We will assemble here the day before the ride and make way and make our preparations to head south. Head down the Stuart Highway and pass the World War II airfields and the military bases that supported the war effort in the Pacific. And we then cross the big rivers that drain the Arnhem Land Plateau. We cross the Adelaide River, the Edith River, the Ferguson River, and finally the Katherine River, and have a rest day in the town of Katherine. Katherine is a lovely town nestling on the banks of the Katherine River, and just up the road are two water sites that are definitely worth seeing. Nitmiluk Gorge, which you can travel by kayak or by boat, and up the road Edith Falls, which has a beautiful lake. You swim across and climb the falls. From Katherine we'll head westwards and we'll follow the length of the Katherine River for a while, then climb out of that gorge and head into the next gorge, the gorge of the Victoria River. And we'll cycle down the Victoria River. The distances are big, but we should be okay because the wind will be behind. From Victoria River Roadhouse we head towards Timber Creek and follow the Victoria River with the grand cliff sides all the way along the side of the road. Spotted in amongst the cliff sides are the baobab trees. We call them baobabs where I come from. And heading across the Baines River and eventually heading to the Kep River, so forever crossing big rivers and eventually crossing the West Australian border at the Kep River National Park. Normal tourists would head off to Kununura, but we're going to make a left turn and head down towards Lake Argyle, which has a lake wall that is only 300 meters wide, and it is holding back a body of water which is 40 times the size of Sydney Harbour. The Bow River and the Ord River join inside this dam. The dam is home to 30,000 crocodiles. One should travel by plane or by boat to have a good look at the lake and have a swim, and you'll see yours truly swimming here. From Lake Argyle we head back up the road to the main highway and have a rest day in Kununura. The thing to do in Kununura is not to spend time in the town, but is to head to El Questro or to some of the other gorges on the Gibb River Road. This is a famous four-wheel drive road. We won't be riding down it on our bicycles. It's a bit too hard for that. From Kununura we start heading south on the Great Northern Highway. The terrain is still rolling hills. The cliff sides are still there, but we are now crossing the rivers rather than travelling along the rivers. The vegetation becomes a bit more sparse. The bird life is fantastic. This is cattle country. This is Aboriginal country, and you do well to explore their cultures, the cultures of rodeo, the cultures of art, and the cultures of custodianship of the land. We will pass through the small communities of Doon, of Warman, and we will eventually reach Halls Creek. We will pass the turn-offs to some very large cattle stations. These stations are in the thousands of square kilometres. We will also pass the turn-off to Punalulu, or more commonly known as the Bungle Bungles. Halls Creek is a bustling town with a strong tradition of Aboriginal music. Leaving Halls Creek, we will pass on the left-hand side the turn-off to Alice Springs, the Tanami track. It is the only road that goes across the centre of Australia. We will roll along the rolling ridge lines of the Muir Ranges and past the Newman Cliffs and past through George Ranges, which heralds the Fitzroy River and the town of Fitzroy Crossing. Fitzroy Crossing is famous for the gorge called Kiki Gorge. This gorge has been carved out of the sandstone over a period of 300 million years. In the flood season, the gorge clears something like 40 times the volume of Sydney Harbour in a month. From Fitzroy Crossing, we continue westward past the settlement of Mount Hardman. We'll also pass the turn-off to Tunnel Creek National Park, so named because the tunnels that are carved out of the limestone go right the way back to the Fitzroy River and run something like 90 kilometres. We know we are reaching the end of our journey when we cross the Fitzroy River again at the town of Willar, or it's not really a town, it's a roadhouse at Willar, not far from the town of Derby. From there we head through the floodplain type country with low scrub bush, and we'll reach the settlement of Roebuck, make a right turn off the Great Northern Highway and head to the town of Broome. Broome is the gateway to the Kimberley region. It is also the pearl diving capital of Australia. It is the home to Cable Beach. We will arrive there the day that the staircase to the moon effect happens. This is when the moon is rising over the estuary and the reflections make it look as if there's a stairway running to the moon. There are great markets set up around the view sites. You will know, though, when you have reached the end of your ride, that you will be drinking a cold one, watching the sunset at the famous Cable Beach. The ride begins in Darwin, May 16, 2015. You can find more information at www.CycleAcrossOz.com.au or find Cycle Around Australia on Facebook or on Google+. Or you can send us an email at our new email address, CycleAcrossOz15@hotmail.com. Thank you for your attention.